They had an incident last week, I think it was, where they had an object that had dropped from height, and they're talking about bringing in tool lanyards now. So you've probably seen them, but they attach to you so that, and then they attach to the other end of the tool, so the podgy ratchet, for example, doesn't drop and go through someone's head. That's something that will be coming, but dropped objects can be incredibly dangerous, and we laugh about it because it's funny in that context, but it is a serious issue. Did you notice anything else in that video? That's correct. So all of the I don't know, superintendents or watchers that were there to observe it and were really enjoying the show didn't have any safety glasses on. These are probably at least their worries by this point though. But if he had, maybe when he was screaming my eye at the end, perhaps the safety glasses would have saved the eye. I don't know, but
I've seen, we were on a job, they did that exact demonstration.
Yeah.
But it was only like tight like that. And they had a watermelon and a hard hat and a TIG filler rod dropped straight through the hard hat and straight into the watermelon.
So the filler rod, for just the TIG filler rod,
TIG filler rod,
went straight through the hard hat. How tall was the drop?
Well, about three levels.
Wow. That's highly alarming.
Yeah. I was surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought. I mean, you expect
It's
a
like
natural bolt.
Is that 3-2 or 3-6 or whatever?
Gosh.
Yeah. Still, no, I mean, stainless.
Okay. So, how do we know about what we're going to do about the risk? So, we need to rate the risk. So, rating the risk consists of assessing people's exposure to the hazard, the probability that an accident or incident will happen, and the consequence of injury or harm to a person. So, this is the risk evaluation model that we use here. So if you follow that line, you got your thrill seeker, so they don't care about risk, they're your Red Bull people, they're just gonna go at it and they think. So they're off the chart this way. But if you have the exact opposite of that, you have powerlessness by evaluation. So you're too scared to do anything, and so therefore you do nothing. The idea is that you want to be, in the middle. So that's your thrill seeker, your no risk evaluation, leap before you look.
Red Bull.
You're the Red Bull man. Unreasonable risk evaluation is where you look and look and look and look and look, and you don't do anything because you're paralyzed. And then the reasonable risk evaluation is you look, you recognize, evaluate, decide. And that's your accident prevention. So you're sort of aiming for somewhere within there. So that's the same thing here you're looking at, is you're going, and remember how we were talking about the rating or the probability of it happening, and then the severity of it happening? So you've got 0, physically impossible to occur. If it's improbable, you're only going to get like 1, and it keeps going all the way up until frequent. So the more likely it is to happen, then you're going to be scoring higher. But then you go down to your severity scale. So if you can see down the bottom, you go probability. So, okay, so frequently it happens. Like, I don't know, there's a wet floor over there after the lady cleans. So it's likely to occur repeatedly in a system of life cycle because the hazard is a floor slip because she comes and mops every day or every second day. So its score is of an 8. But the severity of it Are we going to lose a life or property damage greater than 1 million or downtime exceeding more than 4 months from it? No. Critical, severe injury, occupational illness? No. Marginal, minor injury or occupational illness? Maybe. Or then you have negligible, which is no injury. So you go, okay, marginally, perhaps. So that means you go 8 plus 3. That means I'm going to go to a 12. So see how there you've got the acceptable, marginal, unacceptable? So we're on the scale of 12. So it's within the acceptable. So from working out your risk assessment or risk rating using that type of scale, remember we were talking about how there's still different levels and that you want to engineer something out rather than relying on PPE. So the hazard control consists of communicating there is a hazard and taking immediate temporary control. A permanent solution to that hazard will consist of one or more of the following. Because often, as you all know, there's no one solution. There's always multiple things you can do. And so the very top is the most effective of your controls, and the bottom of that is the least effective. So the top is your elimination, you're physically removing the hazard. There is no more hazard, therefore you've done the absolute best thing. If you can't do that, you're going to replace the hazard. So, or isolate people from the hazard. So say there's a falls risk. I can't physically remove that hazard, but I can